Disinformation in American politics. Welcome to Law and Society. Please subscribe and let's talk about this. I'm going to talk about this more acutely, but on a macro scale. I don't want us to ever forget that for the past 10 years, America has been under attack by disinformation. Donald Trump has spread so much disinformation over the last 10 years that it has morphed our politics into this corrupt understanding of what reality is, and causing, and this sort of blur, this sort of cloudiness, this fog that has come down upon the eyes of so many Americans who are well-meaning Americans who get dragged into Donald Trump's world. And then they leave and they realize what they were part of and they call it a cult. But we have been plagued by this disinformation for 10 years. And so when I read you this, and I don't read what Donald Trump says very often, I want you to pick up and I will explain parts of it where Donald Trump is using words to give his policy position on an issue. And here the issue is the Ukraine invasion by Russia and US's role in it. He puts on Truth Social, I always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. Well, first of all, he's securing his place, saying, I've had a good relationship. He has gone absolutely crazy. And that's something that you didn't hear from Donald before. He is needlessly killing a lot of people. And I'm not just talking about soldiers. Missiles and drones are being shot into cities in Ukraine for no reason whatsoever. Well, Donald, they've been doing this since February of 2022. Where have you been? Why haven't you been talking and saying that they need to stop the invasion? What you're talking about Vladimir Putin doing, not what Ukraine is doing. Vladimir Putin started the invasion. He fired the first rockets. He invaded Ukraine. So he has been doing this for 3+ years. And then he goes on, Donald goes on, I've always said that he wants all of Ukraine, not just a piece of it. And maybe that's proving to be right. But if he does, it will lead to the downfall of Russia, whatever that means. Whatever, that is a very thick veil on any threat that you would want to sort of threaten Putin with. You know, we had a very good relationship, and there's really this. It will lead to a downfall of Russia because Vladimir is acting crazy. But then he goes, likewise, just like the Charlottesville, good people on both sides thing. Here, there's bad people on both sides thing he's playing. Likewise, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it, and it better stop. What has he been saying? He has been asking the world for help so that Ukrainians hold the line and Vladimir Putin doesn't get to march through what used to be the Soviet Union and reclaim what he thinks needs to be part of Russia and the Soviet Union again. And Vladimir Zelensky is saying, give us the resources and we'll stop Russia at our front door, and we will sacrifice our blood. And that is something that better stop. I mean, what else has Vladimir Zelensky said, Volodymyr Zelensky. What else has he said other than in defense of his nation, which is under invasion? Not a war of provocation by the Ukrainians, but rather an invasion by the Russians. Then he goes on. This is a war that would never have started if I were president. Of course, he's going to say that. This is Zelensky's, Putin's, and Biden's war, not Trump's. I'm only helping to put out the big and ugly fires that have been started through gross incompetence and hatred. So he's 1/3 right about who he's blaming this on. It is on Putin because he's the one who invaded Russia. It's so quiet. So like in one statement, he says, this is Zelensky's, Putin's, and Biden's war, not Trump's. Well, no one wants you to take ownership of it, Donald. People want you to find a solution for it. Something that you said you could get done within 24 hours of being in office. And it has now been 4 months that you've been in office and you have not been able to broker peace. So you are lying to the American people. And now, even in this last post, you are mucking up and you are muddying for the American people, for your people, from really realizing what is happening in Ukraine and Russia. That it is an invasion by Russia. That Ukraine is not the aggressor. That the war would stop today if Russia pulled back. And if Ukraine pulled back, then there would be no Ukraine left. It is that simple. And in his diatribe, he goes on and lies and placates the invader and then chastises the one who's the victim, and then throws in Biden's name for good measure so as to not take any responsibility for what happens with Ukraine and Russia now that he is president. Whatever happens with Ukraine and Russia, he's going to blame on Biden. That's where we are now. So stay aware, stay awake. This is what is happening. And remember to check the information and check it against the disinformation that Donald Trump provides. Because he lies, and the way he lies is malicious, and it is intended to divert attention away from the truth and take the American people for a ride and just leave them out to dry. With that said, thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.